Hi, I'm Sean, and you're watching Shopworx. On this episode, we're going to be getting some body mounts under the back end here, and hopefully getting it placed where it needs to be, and possibly putting some other mounts up front, and see where that takes us. So, there'll probably be other stuff other than just the body mounts in here, but we'll see how we go. So I guess here's the thing with this, is I got to put the body mounts in. We've got these holes here so they work out more or less properly. I might have to slot this off a little bit. And I'm right at 4 inches here. So those are what I'm going to be basing everything else at on this thing. I've got the back propped up with a couple of 2x4s and some dunnage. And over here you can see how much room the guy has due to the clearance on everything with the stepped up Bronco. The frames are quite noticeably different between the two. So this is what I've got to work with on here. I want to get the body mounts put on here before we start wrangling too much, cutting and hacking, and removing the real rusty stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I've got these universal polyurethane body mounts from Energy Suspension there. I wanted to go with polyurethane on the back here, just like I did up on the front cab. Had these floating around for a while. Figured I'd use them. To me, it doesn't matter if they don't match the black. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to chop off the piece that's protruding on here with the grinder, and that'll be 1 1/8 inches. I bet you it'll compress down to 1 inch. So I need to go with about a 3-inch block on there up to the body. What I'm going to do on the back ones later, or underneath the cab there, I still have 2 more sets to do at the back on the Bronco back end. I'll probably use these, and then I've got another set that I can cut and do as well. So, and in the meantime, John's going to tear the wiring out of the back there, and the hinges, and all the other stuff that's got to come apart to get the quarters off. For all you guys wondering what's behind one of these Bronco panels, you've got your inner wall there, which I'm hoping we're not going to have to do too much to. You've got the wheel well liner or arch support or whatever you want to call it. And then you've got your actual quarter that goes on over top here. So that's what we're going to be changing. I'm really not a believer in these either. I usually take them out. Anything I got a patch in there, I will. I usually come off and I brace back onto here with some half-inch angle or something like that. It's easy to clean out. What happens here is you get all the spray off the wheels and it comes up in here And it all sits back in here and sits in here, and your wheel arches rust right out on them. As you can see here, the trucks, I know anyway, the one I did there last had a bunch of foam in there. It's like a spray foam. So that held all the salt, held all the water and all the sand and everything in there. So I want this thing to last, so I'm going to be getting rid of it. Do the other side, and then we'll grind her down flat and clean her up. Oh, smells good for something. What? Chucking hot metal into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to start the bolt in it. Up into here. It's still very hot. Is there an offset in it? Let's get that started. Got it started? Got it started, yeah. Do the other one while we got some play here. I'm just trying to. I got it started too. You can set the jack down now. That'd probably hold it. Well, before I get these things all the way down there, I'll measure off of here. Left. Okay, so I've got each of the body mounts and body lifts in there, and as you can see over here how much lack of height we have. I got to tip my fingers at an angle to get them up and in there. So we're just about, I'd say we're probably a little over an eighth between this bottom rail and the frame here. So I'm going to go with that. So this is getting a little more interesting. These were easy to line up and get in, so now it's all custom work. The other thing I'm going to show you if I can get in here without too much issues. Guess I can grab a flashlight. Okay, this is the inside of that fender well there. You can see the spot welds that are, you know, one here, here. You know, I'm missing a bunch in there, I'm sure, but I'm going to drill those out and drop that fender well out, and we'll see how badly rusted it is in there. Hopefully there's not going to be too much patching to do. Definitely have some more cancer underneath here too. I'm going to be having to repair. Well, you can see how it traps all the. Come on. Let go of me. That's why I got holy clothes. Alright, you can see how it traps all that rust and everything, moisture, builds all that rust up and rots everything out here. That's where the top of that wheel arch was. You can see the line here, all the welds that are drilled off, and how it's holding all the moisture back in. So that's going to be a no-go once we get that repaired. Well, I guess now we'll see if the passenger side here fared out any better. Make sure we get that patched up too. One of the problems with something like this, where do you start, where do you stop? Wish I had nothing but time and money to make her a showpiece, but you know, basically I'm sitting here putting this thing together with, $500 Bronco, and you know, same thing with a cab, and $1,000 for running truck and chassis there, and you know, some other parts here and there, and all the panels and pieces and whatnot there. But you know, it's up where I'm from here, everything's starting to jump in price, and all the trucks are going for outrageous prices. Parts vehicles are all rusty, and everything up here is rusty, so it's kind of one of those things, you know, I could do this, do it to the best of my abilities, in 10 years she could be rotting out again. So it's going to be one of those, where do you start, where do you stop, and hopefully we get the most of it here. It's going to be a problem. So get this bolt that's been broke off in there. Cool a little bit. Rust was going to hold it. Didn't think that rust would hold it. Okay, well, we're free there. Quite easy to get inside here and pry. One thing I don't know much about is how it's seamed together up here, so I'm going to be leaving that for now. Have lots of little pieces to rebuild in here, it looks like. Oh boy. Not really what I was hoping to see. Okay, you can see it's loosened off here. However, there's a seam here that appears to be pinch welded inside. And looking at the replacement panel here, you can see the piece that'd be pinched in there and welded. So that's going to be some fun to get out, but we'll figure that out later.
Easy now.
Hidden spot welds. So what we failed to notice originally was all these spot welds on the very top on a little bracket. That's a pain in the butt. And also around the spare tire mount here. There's one on the top and one down there on the bottom. So that's something to be aware of if you're changing it out. I'm not putting the spare tire mount back on, so I don't know if that really affects me or not. We'll not have the brackets to hide them on, so we're going to have to extract all these broken bolts down here. Don't know if you guys can see or not there, but there's some little spot welds up in top there. I don't know whether I'm just going to grind that off or what yet, but that's what's holding her together. Well, had a little problem the other day. Didn't remember to grab a camera. So we ended up getting the rest of the quarters ripped off completely. All laid back up and in on the underside. Found out what we've got to patch for the rust here. I've got a couple panels coming in, replacement pieces that'll cover most of that. I'll have to fab a little bit in. That's not the be-all end-all. I've got to do something with these back pieces here. I got some cab corners coming in tomorrow for them. Hopefully that'll keep the daylight out. And then you see the red body mount over there. Got that one pieced together. Shot on. Ended up welding it to the e-brake cable bracket for some of the supports in 1 bolt. The other bracket pretty much made up on the other side, just have to put it in. So now we're working on all these little spots with daylight in them. I've got to figure that all out, fix it all up, and get her buffed up. One of the nice things about having that all the parts and everything out there is, you know, cut those pieces off of the roof. Saved all that good steel. That's good thick body panel. And the cab corner down here, like you can see, that was a test fit to see whether I could rebuild this with the profile on the cab corners. So like I say, I got a couple of them coming in. It won't cover the whole thing, but it'll give me something to weld in and then work off of, at least something sturdy instead of trying to patch tin foil to tin foil here. So wait for that to show up before we get too carried away here. Like I say, I've got you know, the orange from the cab roof. We'll be patching that in, fixing the rust there, and doing the same on the other side. Top of the wheel wells. Well, been fixing these in here, and all the other spots where I drilled a little too deep with a spot weld cutter. I'm starting to patch the rust holes through on the wheel well here on the passenger side. gonna get that all buffed up and ground down, get this one side done, and move over to the driver's side and start fixing some rust there. Well, nice thing is, not building a show car here, and carpet goes over top all this stuff, so don't have to bring her into a perfect finish. All I gotta do is keep the water on the outside and all the dry stuff on the inside, and she's gonna be hidden, so I'm gonna leave it at that and move over to some of these other ones here. Got something with a little fishy there. There's the full top piece out across here. Probably build in the same piece here, but a little bigger, a little longer. Well, of course, you can't ever have to replace something rusty like a tailpipe. It's got to be something, you know, somewhat structural or a pain in the butt. Like this here, it's a rear seat mount. So what I've done here is marked it out where my bolts are. So I'm going to end up cutting this all back out to here. Put this in proper. Clean it all up and make sure we plug weld this back up and in. Well, that's the rust repair there. Haven't ground anything down yet. But you can see where the seat bolt's in there, and all the plug welding I had to do for reinforcing that. Make sure that seat's in there nice and safe. While I've been prepping all that rust and patching pieces in there, John's been cutting out the cab corners here. I guess what you want to call it. I'm not sure the actual technical part there. Trying to get that ready for the next piece to go in here. So when they show up tomorrow, we can get them in. Well, this is where I ended off as of yesterday there. Ran out of gas on the welder and kind of figured it was a good time to quit. So we're changing that tank out here, and I got these cab corner panels the other day here. So I'm going to be cutting and welding them in, and then I'm going to have to build in the residual pieces. You know, I'm not sure about you guys down south there, but up here we don't have a whole lot of inventory on body part pieces and the availability of stuff you guys seem to get. So, and I don't have time to wait, even if I could find some down there, to delay this project. So I'm gonna go ahead and make do with what I can. These corners here weren't too terribly bad, so they'll be a good start anyway. And then over here, I'm going to cut this rust out on the very back here on that chalk line. And that's going to take me back not quite to the frame underneath. That'll eliminate most of the rust. I'll have to build in the corner here, and obviously here and here and back over here, but I'll probably end up having to make a strip after that'll fit. So that's going to be a little tough. I was looking at another truck box, but it was pretty rough, and these ribs here are not the same. These are thicker ribs in here than on the truck box themselves. So that's a no-go. If I'm gonna make something to fit, I may as well try to make something sort of fit right from the get-go. So do some cutting and get these in. I don't know, you guys can see where she's thin here and all throughout here, here, and basically from about here that way. I'm gonna change that out. Gotta do a spot here too, and Don't even know where to start drilling spot welds here because you can't even tell with all the rust. So I've got it pieced back in here across the back. Got the rust spots filled in. I was thinking about it. I was going to bring a lip out here, and I thought, you know, that's the problem, is you're getting the spray and the water up in there, and the spot welds are back here, and it's just blistering. So I decided I'd weld it to the edge, fill in the weak spots there where it was really rusted through. And then I can continue on in the corners over here now. So far, taking the cab corner. Technically, this is for the passenger side of a regular cab, super cab, crew cab, whatever, back of the cab. Cut the top off that we're not going to use. So it matches the profile, more or less. I got to cut this piece off here with the grinder. We'll see how it fits up.
Oh, pretty good.
Looking a little low, but I'm not sure if that's going to really make a difference there.
It is going to be on your fender panel.
Yeah, but I think I can bend that in here to make it fit. Right? I'd rather match the profile up here best we can. I guess the other thing worth mentioning here, these quarter panels don't come with the fuel filler backing in it, nor the flap. So I'm going to have to steal those off that other box out there, and the one for the front tank, because there's no hole. Bronco's never had the front tank. I see some of the Centurions one did. What I'm going to do is try to cut one in where it'll work out for me and everything else here. So, well, I went and changed this rotten piece out. See, it's just full of rust in between layers, everything. I went and hacked that out of there. I had a bunch of 1/8" plate. I just cut her in a 4" strip and form fitted it. It's got to be a lot stronger than it was there. Also filled that hole in up top there. So now, this thing here is going to fit back in, something like that, and then you're just going to have to build to suit going back around the corner. I want to get one side done before I do the other, and then I got something to work with there. And once I get this all reinforced here, I'll have to redo everything back here and up in here. This is all structurally good here. Cut the crap off the bottom already, which was this. I'll have to rebuild a new one of these. Can't get any parts up here for. And also change out that plate there, or piece of that plate. Well, I love the sunshine door for working in, but it's a real bugger for filming. All kinds of great stuff. Pretty rough shape. see here, it's kind of hopeless. Well, having to rebuild this here using some more 1/8" plate. I'll have to cut the very back end there still, but I'm only doing a little bit at a time here. I don't want to throw anything out of alignment, so just seeing it focus better. There we go. So, give you an idea. Should hopefully outlast me anyway. Sure, it's a lot thicker than what was there. What's there's a lot thicker than regular just body panel metal, so figure just upsize it to 1/8. That's something I got, so should work. A little different view. You see the notches there, that's for running the taillight wires, pigtails out through. So I gotta leave them in there. It's time consuming. Alright, I got this all boxed back in. And what I've got to do is, or what I am doing, is I'm bracing the box sides up here so they can't move in and out. And I'll be cutting rust out down here. If I cut this out without bracing it, I have a feeling they're going to walk around on me here and I'll be out of my measurements. So I got the same thing going on this side, just scrap underneath the bandsaw, and again, cut that out. And John's been fitting the strength replacement piece here, best that we can here. For the corner. It's not the right one for here. Fortunately, I can't find anything that fits a Bronco up here, or anything other than these for that matter. So, getting ready for that. You can see the rust here at the seat belt mount on this cab. It's just horrid. So, cutting it out and replace it too. Both sides are just as bad, so here we go. One of the next things I got to do is pull these tech screws out of here. Looks like somebody had one of those Lund visors on. I'm not going to bash them because, you know, some people like them. I'm technically not that guy, so I'm going to be filling the holes in and be having to cut some spots for the marker lights. Those I like. Those I'll put in. But the visor itself, I just find every one I've seen just about has water leaks in it, so not going on here anyway. Alright, so I got them all welded up, all the holes filled, and this piece up top here, it's off a truck I parted out a long time ago, and basically I use it for a template for my marker lights. I've done 3 or 4 vehicles with it already. So that's all I do is I bring it up and then I line up the front down around here and the Sharpie out so I know where to drill all my screw holes and holes for the wiring harness. And just like that, we have it all marked out. So I'm going to leave those. I'm not going to drill them yet until I get all the sandblasting done, because dust's a real pain in the butt to get out of that double wall. Well, it's first day back here basically after not working on this for about 4 days. Been under the weather. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. Wasn't COVID, so back at her here. I'm going to be cleaning up the sand here, I guess, and we'll see how much more issues we found here. In the meantime, John's going to get the paper plate dishwasher going. Get rid of all the cardboard and parts and pieces. Start a project like this, you get lots of boxes in the mail. So you can see the sand. I definitely don't recommend doing it in a building like this. If you have a choice, I definitely enjoy sandblasting outside a whole lot better. Number one, I run a lot bigger pot and production's way up versus hours it took me to do what little I did here. And you get the natural light out there and a whole lot more. It's more of an industrial blast on here than anything. And then you don't have all this mess to clean up. So I did the millings out there. Don't want sand in the millings. Haven't got a spot set up yet. Ultimately the last two trucks there I did pretty much back to back. That was that little dump truck and then my crew cab. Went out and bought one of those big totes of sand there from the pit. They dry it and everything. Same guys that sell the bag sand there. And those 6 bags were basically the cost of half of one of those totes I picked up. So this little thing's kind of, I don't know, gets the job done, I guess. Would I recommend it? Probably not, but it's what I needed to do in here. It kept the mess down as much as I could compared to having a pot. So let's clean up and see where we're at. Well, I guess the good thing is there's not significant rust on the inside. You're going to end up welding a nut on the back side of that, pulling it out the bottom. Clean the rest of these off. I can do the same thing with those, or majority of those. Weld a nut and pull them through. The bad side of things here now. This is a lot worse than I thought. I don't know if you can see all them holes through it. That's pretty paper thin. Maybe a different view. So we'll see what I'm gonna end up doing here. There's a lot of, the worst part is a lot of it's thick, and then you just got a whole bunch of pinholes everywhere. I'm not sure what I'm gonna cut and replace out of there yet. Same here. On the corners, a bit over here. This stuff cleaned up not terribly bad. majority of the rust off along everywhere else here. Same thing, and I have some holes to weld back in, blend in with the flat disc thereafter. And here, continue this on down. This one here is definitely better than the other side in the grand scheme of things. There's no severe thin spots. There's a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 holes there, and maybe a little bit here I'll monkey with. And then we'll put that one back together as well. I'm not going to actually cut and replace here, I don't think. Should be easy enough just to float them holes. I don't even have to get in and grind them after. It can be as thick as she wants to be in there. Hole through in here. You gotta fix up. What I wasn't planning on was a little bit of rust there, just pinholing through. Got a couple that are causing me some grief, so I'm probably going to chop a chunk out of here. See how much when I get into it. You can see the worst part on here now. Tap that in, I think, here. You can pull one out, tap it in, and weld her all back up. Driver's side floorboard, thin right in here. I'll change that piece out too. I know there's another layer in here which sucks. Not sure how far I want to go into that. Majority of this stuff I think was caused more so from right up in here on the window. I'm not sure that it was coming through up the window seam here and in or down and in here, but there's a lot of rust in the corner here. We're going to be welding all them up. What I was doing was coming in and then running down, causing all the grief you're seeing here down in this area. So get that stuff fixed up. So, a lot more welding in here than I was anticipating. So, shot the corners out. You can see right in here, it's actually going to weld this spot weld back up. Gonna do some welding up in here, probably fill this corner in, whether it's with weld or seam sealer that can run out and down instead of down and in, which is where the problem is. Just every corner had that issue. I've blasted the majority of this stuff out of here. So. Same thing in this corner here. I'll be welding this in to give it a nice solid seamless piece, grinding her down and filling her up. So. Now, these lovely cracks in the floorboard here. See one there, and you see another one coming up and in here. I'm not sure what causes those things. I thought it was something to do with manual transmission, but this one was an auto right from the get-go. All my other ones were the manual. I thought between working the clutch and everything, you get the cracks in the floorboard, dumping it. So that's something to be repaired as well. At least it doesn't have the usual cracks up in the firewall there where the clutch goes. However, I just saw something else here I didn't notice before either. I found another crack. Damn it. Found another crack, John. Found another crack. Oh, no. I don't know where these cracks are coming from. Maybe I think it's not cracked up. Wah, wah, wah. Well, anything else around here? It's the oddest spot too. Wouldn't expect it there. So I guess probably be cutting this video short and making her a two-piece on fixing all this crap before I actually start putting stuff together, so yeah. I guess we'll stop it here, and then I'll pick up the next video there, doing the rest of the patchwork. At least you sort of see what we got here after the sandblasting, so yeah, if you like what you're seeing, or don't like what you're seeing, I guess, you know, I'm working on a limited budget on this, trying to make her work with a bunch of parts cars, basically, so, but I'm always open to comments, as long as they're not too disrespectful or anything that way. Let me know if I'm doing it wrong, different, or what, but hopefully you like what you see, and see you around.